taking your calls. Hi everyone.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
So let's wait. People are joining. 66. The moment it comes 100, we will start. Till that time, just let us have some kind of talk. Talk about the hypnotherapy and the hypnosis. Okay. So just let us have some kind of what do you call it? Question and answer. Okay. You can ask any question, whatever is in your mind, which you wanted to clarify. You can just ask for 5 minutes. When it becomes 100, we will start. Yes, anyone can go ahead. Just for 5 minutes, we will have some kind of question and answer session. Yes, team, please go ahead. Okay.
Hello, sir. Yesterday, I asked a question in the chat box whether hypnosis works on psychotic patient. Will it be beneficial to them?
Hypnotherapy will not be useful. Hypnotherapy, better it is not that much applied on those cases which requires more of medical attention. So it depends upon case to case and also the severity level. So only because whatever the aspect which you mentioned, that comes under a psychiatrist and clinical psychologist. Yes or no, Shamali?
Yes, sir.
Whether a psychologist can deal whatever you are telling, those cases, whether a psychologist will be able to handle?
No, sir, but that patient is already under psychiatric medicine, this thing. But what prompted that person to have these psychotic problems from childhood experience or something like that? So if the person is given additional therapy, would it help? That's what my question is.
Yeah. That is as a supportive therapy.
Yes, sir.
If the person is able to understand and talk, maybe the doctor will initiate. Before administering hypnotherapy, hypnosis, two aspects. Whatever applies to CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, that applies to hypnotherapy also. The basics of CBT. The basic of CBT is CBT can be done only with a person, with the people who are able to understand what are you talking. They should be able to understand, because psychoeducation, it is one of the what do you call, the fundamental of CBT. The same aspect it applies to hypnotherapy also, because before putting a person into hypnotherapy, we have to psychoeducate him about what is that he is going to do. Now, in films, in YouTube and all, we might have seen just he is holding hand like this. Just if he does like that, people just fell down. Okay, these all are stage managed. These all are stage managed, and this is not that is not hypnosis. That is not hypnosis. That is not hypnotherapy. You cannot just take your hand and do like this, and people go berserk. These all are the aspects. It doesn't come under what you call the hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy. See, there is something called clinical hypnotherapy. Clinical hypnotherapy means wherein you have some evidence. You have some evidence of output. That the doctor will decide, the clinical psychologist will decide whether the person is able to understand whatever you are able to talk. Your person is not able to understand whatever you are talking, and he is not in a position to comprehend your information. See, the basic of hypnotherapy is suggestion. Through suggestion, we take the people to trance and we give suggestion, and we try to we try to work with the suggestion and change. Now, suggestion we give through language, and the language, unless and until you comprehend, a suggestion is not a suggestion, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Shamali,
Yes, sir.
is it possible to come on video?
Sir, I'm opening up the video, sir. Please.
Let's wait. Shamali is coming on the video.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shamali, I asked you, can you come on the video? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Now, what is it you told? Sir, 2 minutes.
Yes,
2
sir.
seconds, I will come.
Yes, sir.
Comprehension.
Yes, sir.
Now, I tell something and you follow it.
Yes, sir.
That is what happening in hypnotherapy. I
Yes,
tell
sir.
something and the counseling, okay, whoever is in the therapy, okay, he is able to follow it.
Yes, sir.
Now, for that, what is the basic aspect is required? The cognition. The cognition, whatever I tell, you should be able to understand.
Yes, sir.
Shamali is able to understand that Shivakumar is asking me to open the camera. Now, if I tell this to a person who is not able to comprehend the information due to any kind of psychological aspects, whether he will open the camera, he will not open the camera because he will not be able to comprehend the information.
Yes,
So,
sir.
only where the comprehension by the counseling, by the subject is possible, there only what you call the hypnotherapy is possible. If they are not having it, because this every aspect is through suggestion. We give suggestion, isn't it? I'll be telling that, okay, when you are writing 1 on the board, when you erase 1, this happens. No, you should have the comprehension ability. No? Otherwise, he will not go into that state. So comprehension by the subject, that is required. Comprehension, how much is required? Only the doctor, because the aspects which you told, it comes under a psychiatrist, a doctor. So the doctor will decide whether he is having the comprehension ability. If somebody's intensity is less and he is able to comprehend, okay, then he may undertake a cognitive hypnotherapy. Cognitive hypnotherapy, maybe that may work on the individual. Yeah. So I hand over the. Thank you, Jean. Thank you very much for joining. Today we will start with a wonderful relaxation, a mindfulness exercise. We have our international mindfulness coach, Sumitra ma'am. Now, Sumitra ma'am what she will do is, she is going to say a few words about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Okay. Because hypnotherapy is mindfulness, isn't it? Hypnotherapy is mindfulness. You are aware. Mindfulness means what? You are aware. You are aware what is happening to you. You are aware what is happening around you. Aware. And that is what mindfulness is. So she will tell few aspects about mindfulness, and she will conduct a brief mindfulness exercise. Then we have, so Sumitra, she is from Emocare Positivity Center, Bangalore. And after her, Faika Mazur, she is joining us from Pakistan. One of the wonderful trainer. I always, I am a fan of her English. Her English is very nice. I'm a fan of English. So she is going to talk about a triune brain, the brain concept. Okay. So only one question I will be able to take. Hina wanted to ask something. With that, I will go to Sumitra ma'am. Hina, you can ask. Hina, you wanted to ask something? Hira Mohammed. Hira Mohammed, can you ask what is your question? Please come on the line and ask. Sir, I have a question. Sir, will you also teach us how to? And after how to, nothing is there. Give anesthesia in hypnosis. No. Giving anesthesia is see, the word itself is a very medical terminology. Okay. And when you give anesthesia, the person loses his what you call higher cognitive function. Physical body also goes into numbness. You will not be able to do anything. And in such a condition, whatever you do now, that is not hypnotherapy. When you give anesthesia, what can happen is a surgery. A surgery by a qualified doctor happens when someone is in the anesthesia. When someone is in the anesthesia, hypnotherapy is not. So I think there is some misconception here. You can connect with me afterwards, after the class. You can call me with your doubts. Yeah, Sumitra, over to you, Sumitra. Sumitra, international mindfulness coach, and she is having a very vast experience in mindfulness coaching, and she is doing coaching to several corporate companies and corporate managers and CEOs on mindfulness and mindfulness aspects. Over to you, Sumitra.
Thank you, Shiva sir. Is the audibility clear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great to hear. So a very good evening to all my friends from all over the world. So how are you all today? Yes?
Yeah, fine. Thank
Good,
you.
Good, ma'am. Thank you.
Super, ma'am.
Good, ma'am.
Very well.
That's great to hear.
Good, ma'am.
It's because of your yesterday's session, ma'am.
All the best. See, at 8:45 p.m., there is still so much of energy to learn something about hypnotherapy, to know about mindfulness. Isn't that a great thing?
Yeah.
You should pat on your back, all of you. That's really great. Well, when I say mindfulness, being aware, being in the present is mindfulness. The thought, it says that, yes, this is important. I should think about this. That is mindfulness, being with the present, being with the right thought. That's mindfulness in layman language. Well, I want to take you on this, a very short journey. So if you all are okay, if you're ready, I would request you to close your eyes. Just close your eyes. This is the best time of your entire day. Observe your breathing. It's very slow, very slow. Your breathing is perfectly slow. You're feeling the calmness. Just scan yourself without opening your eyes. You're scanning yourself, your complete body. At this moment, you are the only person visible in your thoughts, in your mind. This relaxed breathing, actually you're feeling it. When you're breathing, you can feel the fresh air, the oxygen entering your lungs. You feel a renewed energy. Only my voice is guiding you. Rest. Any thought that is coming, you are gonna tell that you will talk to it later. Those thoughts will be given importance after a while. So as of now, it's only you. Your body is very relaxed, very, very relaxed. Any thought coming, it is floating on a leaf. It is floating. All the thoughts which are unwanted, you send them on a leaf. It's floating. It's floating, going far from you. You are feeling very light. This eternal silence is what you wanted. Stay in the silence for next 1 minute. It's emptiness. Silence is so beautiful. You feel like enjoying the silence. Cover yourself with a complete white light. You are safe. You are in sound health. You are smiling now. And that smile makes you look more beautiful. You are just beautiful. You scan yourself completely again from top of the head to the tip of the toe. You are just glowing. You will feel good. You are good. Take a deep breath now. On a count of 4, you will have to open your eyes very gently. Very gently. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that smile, you should hold on to it. Was the silence beautiful?
It was wonderful, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. You need to practice this on frequent intervals in a day. I'm going to share one wonderful tip, which is going to take only 1 minute. Whenever you are multitasking, that is where things go wrong. Mind becomes chattered. There's a lot of chattering happening in the mind. So for you to practice mindfulness, you need to follow one thing, which is a stop technology, a stop technique, I can say. Whatever you're doing, if your mind is too clustered, stop for 1 minute. Whatever you're doing, just stop for 1 minute. And next, S stands for stop for 1 minute. And T stands for take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And then O stands for you observe your thought. You observe your thought. And then you proceed. P stands for proceed. Proceed with whatever which is fruitful at that point of moment. So mindfulness is nothing but wherever your mind wanders, getting back to the basic, which is your breath, because once you take a deep breath, there is sufficient oxygen supply to your brain and your mind starts thinking in the right way. Please practice this. I would love your feedback tomorrow, day after, throughout these sessions, if at all, if you're practicing this mindfulness. So that's it for me for today. I hope this helps. Please practice this. You will gain better health and confidence. So thank you all for being a wonderful audience, even today too. As usual, I love you all. Over to you, Shiva sir.
Thank you, Sumitra ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Shall we stop?
Thank you, ma'am.
Stop.
Thank you, ma'am.
Stop.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Was nice.
Can we stop for a second? Stop.
It was wonderful.
Okay, now I request, it was one of the wonderful technique, and even Osho suggests, Osho and even many, even if you seen Zen, you have this 1 second meditation. 1 second meditation is, suppose you are walking, just stop, observe, take a deep breath, observe, and just listen. This 1 second meditation, people say it works more in reducing tension and reducing various aspects. Okay, what is the relevance with mindfulness with hypnotherapy? See, a hypnotherapist or a counselor should be mindfulness. He should be aware of what is going in his own mind. Then only he will be able to influence the mind of the other person. Someone went to a counselor. Sir, my wife is beating me every day, sir. Every second, my wife is beating me, sir. In you're also the same case, sir. That's all. Matter ends there. The aspect is, as counselors, actually self-hypnosis for the therapist, that they should be able to penetrate into others. To penetrate into others, what we should have is, what we people should have is, we should expand our aura. We should expand our aura. We should expand ourselves so that we will be able to influence. So today I'm very, very happy to introduce Miss Faika Mazur. She is joining us from Pakistan. She is going to talk about one of the wonderful concept of brain, okay, Triune brain, which is deeply connected with hypnotherapy also, which we are going to see. Over to you, Faika. It's
Thank you, sir.
I made you co-host. Yeah, please go.
Yes, sir. So, good evening, friends. How are you all?
Good evening. Fine.
Good evening. Good, ma'am.
Good evening. Great.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Fine.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. Good evening,
Thank
ma'am.
you all.
ma'am.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, ma'am.
I first of all would like to thank Shiva sir to give me this opportunity to speak up on Triune brain. And after that, I would like to thank two more people. One is Bob Cahan and the other one is Wind Seraph. And you people might be wondering why I am just thanking two Americans which have no relationship to us, to Imukar family or anyone. The reason why I'm thanking both of them is that they invented internet. And from this technology, I am able to deliver a session all the way from Pakistan to the international, internationally and on a global level. So I want to thank Bob Cahan and Wind Seraph. Now the Triune brain. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am working as a CEO of my own company with the name High Minders. This company works for IT services and mind sciences trainings, educational consultancy, spiritual counseling, and soft skill trainings. I am an internationally certified soft skill trainer, internationally certified spiritual coach, a gender specialist, and an educationist. I'm very delightful to tell you people that I am also a representative of Emocare in Pakistan. So, can anybody recollect that why I have written this word on the very first slide of my topic? Can anybody have any guesses about this?
Ma'am, to learn anything, you should be more curious about it. If there is no curiosity, you will not anything or try to know with fascinating your awareing your mind or everywhere. Curiosity
Okay,
works
you're
like
close enough. You're close enough. Anyone else, please?
First word you are showing to us is because in the group everybody is now curious that what you are going to talk about.
All right, let me give you another hint from where you would get more close to the real concept. Why we are here, what we are doing here, and where we are going. Kindly please all mute your mics. The moment you answer a question, after that mute your mic. Why we are here, what we are doing here, where are we going? Can anybody now know where we are going right now with all these clues? Anybody?
We are going to the journey of brain.
Okay, that's close. That's very close. But why all of these concepts, curious, and all of these three questions?
Hello,
To know ourselves even better.
Okay. Okay, let me tell you.
Talk about the present
Let
moment.
me tell you. Okay, enough of that. Let me tell you. Paul D. MacLean, who is the inventor of the Triune brain, who introduced the concept Triune brain, said that an interest in the brain requires no justification other than a curiosity to know why we are here, what are we doing here, and where we are going. That's why I wrote the word curiosity and curious, and I wrote all of these questions, because to know the brain, we only require this. So in order to have you people recollect on the thoughts that we have to be curious and we have to be having these three aspects in our brain before going into the deeper concepts of the brain. So the next thing is the Triune brain. Now we would start officially. The first question which arises in our mind is that what is a Triune brain? Basically, the brain itself can be actually considered to be three brains in one. And that is the Triune brain. This concept was introduced by Paul D. MacLean, who is a neurologist, and he defined the brain in three parts: the brainstem, the limbic system, and the neocortex. Now, you can see in the diagram that the neocortex is related to thinking, the limbic system is related to feelings, and the brainstem is related to surviving. The reptilian brain is a reptilian brain, then comes the limbic brain, and the cortical brain has both of the reptilian and the limbic brain in itself. So now, reptilian brain. When we study reptilian brain, the first thought which comes into our mind is that why this name? This is the name given to this brain, part of the brain, because the reptiles and humans share the same brain. So this is also called as reptilian brain. Now you can see in the diagram, the location of the reptilian brain is the base of your skull. You can see here on the base of your skull, brainstem is, located. Its responsibility is survival and basic vital functions. Now we would see in more detail. It controls autonomic body functions and instinctive behavior. Now, what is autonomic bodily functions? Which autonomic bodily functions the reptilian brain is responsible for? Breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. Okay. And then comes a concept of fight, freeze, fight, or flight response. Now, what is a freeze, fight, or flight response? For this, I would tell you a story. Suppose you are in the Stone Age and you are collecting all of the woods to make a fire, to lit a fire. And suddenly, from behind the bushes, a saber-toothed tiger comes forward towards you to attack you. What would you do? Can anybody tell me what would be their reaction?
Either fight with the fox or he will run.
Yes. Exactly.
They might freeze. They might stand at one place and be shocked, like what to do. Their brain might be blank.
Yes, they might freeze also. So this is the basic survival thing. Okay. In order to survive, this is our reaction. So this freeze, fight, or flight response, whenever we feel a danger, our whole body undergoes some changes. Okay, and due to those changes, three major systems are affected inside the body. That is a physical system, or cognitive system, and behavioral system. Now we would go into the deeper concept of that. The physical system, how the physical system is being affected. As soon as we feel danger, the brain sends message to our autonomic nervous system. Now again, the autonomic nervous system is having two sections: sympathetic branch and parasympathetic branch. The sympathetic branch activates various areas of the body for action. And all of the areas of the body are being activated. So the person experiences physical changes from head to toe. The sympathetic nervous system releases two chemicals from the adrenal gland on the kidneys. One is adrenaline and the other one is non-adrenaline. They both are the hormones. And what do? They put in some physical changes inside the body, which are as follows. An increase in the heart rate and strength of the beat. Now you see, as soon as both the hormones are excreted and put on the kidney, and there is an increase in the rate of the heart pumping. And also the strength of the beat, it becomes more strengthful beats. Why is this so? In order to get the oxygen delivered to the various part of the body, and then again the blood collects all the waste material so that they could be efficiently eliminated. The other sign, the other physical symptom which appears is a redistribution of blood from areas that aren't as vital to those that are. You see the change, there is a change in the blood flow. The blood becomes away from the places where it is not needed. So what are the unvital areas? The skin, toes, and fingers are the unvital areas, and the vital areas are large organs and muscles. So the vital areas, why does this change happen? So in order to protect the human being from a blood loss, whenever, if there is a cut from the predator, if some part of the body is being cut from the predator, so the large amount of blood may not be present on that place, and there must not be some great amount of huge blood loss. So that is why all of the blood flows on the large organs like our lungs and our heart, which are away, which are in deeper inside the body. The third change which appears is an increase in the rate and depth of beating. The rate of breathing also increases, and the depth of breathing also increases. Why does it happen? So in order to provide tissues the extra amount of oxygen so that they would be prepared for the action. Another physical change is an increase in sweating. You know, we start sweating a lot. And what does it do? It becomes, our body becomes slippery and makes it hard for the predator to grab us. And it also creates a cooling effect on the body, and which prevent it from overheating. And the other aspect which changes is the widening of the pupil of the eye, or pupil of the eye widens, more light enters inside the pupil, and we can identify the hidden dangers, such as something might be lurking in the shadows, and we are able to identify that. The sixth change is decreased activity of digestive system, so that more energy is to be diverted to the systems who are more immediately related to fight or flight response. The physical aspects which appear are decrease in salivation, constipation, dry mouth, nausea, and heavy stomach. The last physical change which happens is the muscle tension. Muscle tense up in preparing for fight or flight, result in subjective feeling of tension, resulting in pain, trembling, and shaking. Now we have seen the physical changes, the physical system, how the physical system is affected, how the behavioral system is affected by this. Is there are basically three main behaviors being observed: freeze, flight, or fight. And it creates an overwhelming urges associated with the overwhelming urges which are associated with this response are aggression and a desire to escape the situation. So the people express it by foot tapping, pacing, and snapping at people. You can also, observe all of these aspects while giving counseling to your client, that if they are doing that, we might know that they are in our reptilian brain. Okay. Now comes the cognitive system. So the cognitive system is affected in a way that individual starts to shift their attention to the surroundings to search for potential threat, and they find difficulty in concentrating. And whenever there is a reptilian brain, the sixth sense is cut off, and higher cognitive functioning is also cut off in the reptilian brain. Okay, what is anxiety? Ma'am Sumitra told us yesterday that if there is an unavoidable stress of future, then this is anxiety. And if there is a unavoidable stress of past, it is depression. So what is anxiety? Basically, all of the things which we learned in the reptilian brain, which happens in the fight, freeze, or flight response. Those are associated when we actually have some threat in the life. So these changes appear, all of the three systems are affected. So it is very normal when we are in an actual threat situation. But when we are not experiencing an actual threat, but have those physical, those cognitive, those changes inside us, so it's an anxiety which is not normal. So in order to understand, in order to give counseling, you have to be very careful, and you have to be noticing those physical changes inside your counselee, that if he is having those such situations, or you would be recollecting from their statements that how they acted in different areas of their life. So you would be able to know that they were in their reptilian brain at that part of time. Okay. Now, we would go on to the limbic brain. What is a limbic brain? The limbic brain is also called mammalian brain. So again comes the question that why the name? This is the part of the brain which mammalians and humans both have in common. So it is also known as mammalian brain. The location of the limbic system is located within the cerebral of the brain, immediately below the temporal lobes and buried under the cerebral cortex. The cortex is the outmost part of the brain. Now you could see the position of the limbic system. This is between the brainstem and the neocortex. Between the two brains is the limbic system and is associated with feelings. So its responsibility is more complex functions such as regulation of the immune and hormone system, sexuality, mood, feelings, and emotions. Okay, the limbic system is associated with higher emotional states. Whenever you are feeling something sad, whenever you are very happy, in ecstasy, whenever you are feeling so much anger, you are in our limbic brain. A cut-off for higher cognitive functioning happens also in the limbic brain. There is no higher cognitive functioning in the limbic brain. Emotions that reduce your productivity are included in the limbic brain. When you are so much emotional about anything and you are not being productive, that is the limbic brain. So here I would like to give an example to you. Whenever, if you, marriages are very much emotional event of our life. So whenever a woman is married and a male is married, a woman is able to remember much of her marriage events than his husband. Why is this so? Because she is being more emotional at that point of time, because she is starting a new life. So she is emotional about the new relationships and new family members. And also she is leaving her old family members home, her old mother, her old father, her sisters and brothers. So she is having some mixed kind of emotions at that point of time. So she is able to remember and recollect in a very greater way. So limbic system is also responsible for having memories in a more specific way. Okay, now comes the parts of the brain which are important in studying counseling are thalamus, the limbic brain, thalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. Thalamus is basically the switchboard of our brain. All of the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic information from our senses enter the thalamus, and then it is characterized and sent to different parts of the brain for processing. The thalamus actually sends sensory information in two different directions at the same time. You can see the location of the thalamus. It is being located here in the brain. Now, the amygdala. It is the emotional control center. It analyzes the incoming information for emotional significance and determine if it should be initiate a freeze, fight, or flight response. This part of the limbic brain gives signals to the reptilian brain, so in order to activate it, okay, and the mental downshifting happens. So mental downshifting when happens, it could appear in 4 kind of emotions. When we are feeling fear, or we are experiencing anxiety, or we are experiencing stress or threat, we could remember these 4 situations from the acronym FAST. Okay, then comes the hippocampus, the location below the thalamus near the middle of our brain. It's the memory control center of the brain, and its responsibility is storing short-term memories and deciding which short-term memories get encoded into the long-term memory and send those memories to appropriate sensory cortices for long-term storage, and retrieving those long-term memories in order to recollect our thoughts. So, what is that we could understand from the limbic system is that limbic system controls both emotions and long-term memory storage. Emotions work as post-it notes, like the emotions are being post-it notes to the memories, so that you were feeling happy at that time, so you have to remember those those memories more clearly, because you were so much happy, you remember that. Amygdala attach these emotion post-it notes to memories, and the stronger the emotion, the stronger is the memory. The more you are happier, the more strong memory you will be having. The more you are sad on a certain fact, the more stronger memory you will be having. The more positive emotion, the more strongly it is stored in the long-term memory. So, what is the connection between the limbic brain and counseling? Whenever a client comes to you, he must be in between the limbic brain and the cortical brain. So in order to bring him into a more logical and more reasoning situation, more critical thinking aspect of the situation, you have to do intellectual questioning and trigger their higher cognitive thinking. Whenever a client comes to you, so you could ask them, where did you get your education from? What are your hobbies? Why do you enjoy this hobby? Things like that. Questions which requires their intellectuality, and questions which could trigger their higher cognitive thinking, you could ask them. And second part is that whenever you find and identify your patient in a limbic system, the limbic brain system state, you could use the property of deflection. That is, if they are talking about something and being emotional about that, and you recognize that they might be having some emotional outbursts, you could use the technique of deflection. Start talking about something which is so irrelevant to that situation. Oh, miss, where did you get those shirts from? I was also looking all the way to in India and Pakistan for this shirt. I am unable to find it. Where did you got this from? So she would start thinking that where did she got that from, and it would shift her focus from limbic system to the cortical brain. So the cortical brain or thinking brain, what is that? So the name thinking brain is because it involves higher cognitive functioning, and its location is it's the largest part of the cerebral cortex and makes up approximately half of the volume of the human brain. Okay, this is the part which makes us most human. Why? Because it is the home for all higher intelligence. It is the part which differentiates between the other organisms and the human being. Its responsibility is critical thinking, reasoning, language, ability to conceive abstractly. The neocortex is divided into separate lobes for speech, vision, hearing, and touch. So, the neocortex consists of visual cortex, auditory cortex, and somatosensory cortex. Everything which we see, all of the information which is seen through eyes gets sent to our visual cortex, and its location is the back of the head. If you would, if you would place your hand towards the back of your head, you would be able to identify your visual cortex. Now comes the auditory cortex. Everything that we hear, all the information we receive through our ears gets sent to our auditory cortex. And its location is on each side of the brain, just beside the ears. If you place your hands like this on your ears, you would be able to identify your auditory cortex. Then comes the somatosensory cortex. Everything that we do with our bodies, all the information we receive through that or tactile senses such as temperature, texture, body position, and pain, it gets sent to our somatosensory cortex. Now, if you would place your hand from all over from one ear to the other, all away on your upper side of the skull, this is the somatosensory cortex. So our visual, auditory, and somatosensory cortex then process the information they receive from the thalamus and send it on to prefrontal cortex, which is the home of our working memory. If the information gets flagged for long-term memory, it returns to the same sensory cortex that processes it for long-term storage. So all the visual memories are stored in visual cortex, auditory memories in the auditory cortex, and kinesthetic memories into the somatosensory cortex. That is why when we have stored our memories into multiple senses, we are able to recollect in a better way. For example, I will give you an example that when there is a victim of physical violence, when they come to you for counseling, you might be noticing that they are having more profound memories of the event and the event which took place to them. Why? Because the rape victims, the domestic violence victims have all of those memories saved in their visual, auditory, as well as a somatosensory cortex. They remember what they saw, they remember what they hear, they remember what they felt, the pain, physical pain. So those are the deeper concepts and deeper memories, and they create greater disturbance as compared to other aspects and as compared to other patients. So benefits of bringing a client to cortical brain are: we will be able to understand your logical reasoning, will be able to decide what's better for them and take correct decision. You know, if you bring your client to from the cortical brain, from the reptilian or limbic brain to the cortical brain, they will be able to understand you more logically, and they will be able to decide what's better for them to take correct decisions. They will be able to critically think about facts which are beneficial to them. They will not be in their emotional state, crying or being angry, and they will be having any kind of fear. They will not be having any kind of fear from you. So in my first slide, when I wrote the word curious, I did two things, too many important aspects I did. One was that I created a curiosity inside you by the similar word. The word was curious and it created curiosity inside you. So that is a skill which you could do with your clients, which you could do from your with your counselees in order to bring them from reptilian or limbic brain to cortical brain. And secondly, afterwards, why did I did that? So in order to make you people come out of your limbic brain to the cortical brain, if anybody of you would be in their limbic state, so I wanted them to come out of from that state into the cortical brain so that they could have the higher cognitive functioning and they could perceive more from the session. If you like my session, you could follow me on Facebook. My page is with the name of High Minders. And I am very happy. Thanks again, Shiva sir, for giving this opportunity to depict my thoughts on Triune Brain. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wow.
Ma'am, it was very clear. Thank you, ma'am.
Only one word, wow. Other than that, I will not be able to tell anything. Wow. What a presentation. It was so clear. And can you just take the presentation, Paika? Team,
Yes.
so today, I think Paika has made us understand the basics. See, it was very clear. This is actually fundamental to understand hypnotherapy, and she has made it very effective, very efficiently. And thank you, Faika. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Today, both the presentations, the Sumitra presentation and your presentation, really it is absolutely marvelous. I think if I prize, okay, if I tell something, maybe it may be open, but I want any one participant to come and share your views on the presentation by Sumitra ma'am and Faika. It is, see, hypnotherapy, immediately, it is not that we have to go on to the 12th standard or college. We have to go step by step, isn't it? We have to go step by step. Understand the brain, understand the mind. And then we have to understand counseling. All the three is interconnected. All the three are interconnected. Then only we will be able to understand what is hypnotherapy. Because that is like Everest. But all I want to climb Everest now, all these things are required. And both Sumitra and Faika today, they did a very wonderful aspect. So, Unikrishnan sir, what do you feel, Unikrishnan sir? Can you say a few words about this, Unikrishnan sir, about the presentations?
Yeah, both the presentations were excellent. If I say excellent, that is not a proper way to express it. It is beyond excellence. That is what I would say. One thing I liked with Sumitra madam is regarding the mindfulness. It is very good. So this is what we should practice, I would say, especially the salespeople. Salespeople, since I am in the sales, I know what are the tensions we have towards the month end, because we have to fulfill the target. We have to meet the target under any circumstance. I think the same will be the situation in India also. I'm not in India now. We undergo lots of pressure because salesman is a person who is sandwiched between many groups, like management one side, customer group one side, and accounts people one side. See, that is why lots of pressure comes on salespeople. So under these circumstances, I would say that Sumitra madam is a blessing.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
She comes as a blessing for such people. And second, I would like to say regarding Faika madam, the way she started the topic, I was just listening to her. She started with curious. And curious is one of the things, if you read Bhagavad Gita, that is our Indian scripture, you will learn one factor in that. It is the quality available only for human beings. Animals cannot have the curiosity. It is a blessing for human beings. That is how it leads to learning. I hope I am right in this because you people may be knowing better than me. I am not again, don't say that I am giving a negative stroke. I want to do an open confession. Okay. So I always like to have an open confession so that the people don't mistake me. So the moment she started with curiosity, it created curiosity in me. That is how a speech should start. So that is one of the best thing I would like. Even I would like to implement this particular technique in my speeches. So normally I give speeches, and recently, for your information, I have been given the award for the best faculty member in a private organization. So this is how I took. But transaction analysis, again, I want to do lots of things. I will talk to Sivakumar sir later, because there are lots of things, gray area, which I am not able to understand. I could not understand. So this is how I would evaluate your speeches. You have done excellently well. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Unikrishnan. It was very nice. Team, from anyone from the team, can you interrelate the stop technique and the triune brain? See, that is where if somebody is able to tell the stop technique which Sumitra ma'am told, okay, and the topic, Paika was topic, triune brain, neocortex, how these both are interrelated when we are doing stop, what happens in the three aspects Paika ma'am told. Anyone from the audience? Anyone from the audience?
The stop technique can be very much related with the example just given by sir. Like for the sales people, actually, they have many things running in their mind all around, like from the management and from the customers and all. They are very disturbed, especially in the month end timing. So in that, the stop technique can be used, stopping for a minute and thinking which target or which thought can be put it in which side of the brain, and how to overcome that tensions and that frustration or stress. So that's what I think, that mindfulness, that stop technique can be used in that practical manner.
Practical manner. Paika, can you just tell a few words on the stop technique and triune brain?
Yes, sir, I would like to tell. Basically, the stop technique is when you stop all of your emotions and you trigger your higher cognitive functioning in order to recollect that why you are doing what you are doing. And from this, you trigger your sixth sense and logics. And you come from your reptilian or limbic brain towards your cortical brain. So that is what I understood.
Very nice. So, when we do counseling, any counselor, any counseling or psychotherapy or anyone who wants to master counseling, there are many students here. If at all you want to master counseling, if at all you want to master psychotherapy, when you are talking with people, when you are talking with your client, the first aspect is you have to be in. I'm telling now, I want people to put yes or no, okay? Whether what I'm telling is correct or not, you have to put, okay? If at all you want to be the best psychotherapist and best counselor, you have to be in reptilian brain. Yes or no? Please put it in the chat box.
Excuse me, sir, the chat box.
Yeah, okay, I will open it. Please put it in the chat box. If at all you want to be the best psychotherapist, best hypnotherapist, best counselor, you have to stay in reptilian brain. No. Very nice, very nice. When we practice a stop technique, we move on to our neocortex. Yes or no? Now you can put a neo and say yes or no. You can put neo, N-E-O, and put yes or no. When you are doing the stop technique, you are in your neocortex. When you are practicing the stop technique. Yes. So that means both Sumitra and Paika has delivered what was required. It was very wonderful. Everybody is able to understand. So in counseling, the more we practice this stop technique, we will be able to come to the awareness, and we will be able to understand what the counseling actually requires. Only when you are in awareness, you can be non-judgmental. You can have active listening. You can have every aspect. The basics of counseling we tell now. All these aspects are possible only when you are in limbic system. Yes or no? Whatever the basics of counseling, if at all we want to follow, we must be in limbic system. Yes or no? Yell, you can put yell. No. Akshara says yes. No, Akshara. Akshara, we have to be in neocortex. And when you are in practice stop technique, you come to neocortex. The counselor should be in neocortex, and we try the counseling to bring to the neocortex. But when you make him sit in the hypnotherapy session, he will be switching between neocortex and the limbic because he is having emotions. See, there was a death and he is not able to forget the loss of wife. The husband is not able to forget the loss of wife. He is having so many worries. He is not able to productively work. Now you are doing counseling to him, mind. Okay. Then suppose if you are going to give a therapy, what happens? During the therapy session, the journey for the counseling is from the neocortex to the limbic, from limbic to the neocortex. Now, when we end the program, when we end the therapy session, we should end it in neocortex. When we end it in neocortex, what happens? The therapy session becomes successful. The simple technique. And this is why we arranged this session today. And I thank from the bottom of my heart to Sumitra for giving this wonderful aspect. And I thank from the bottom of my heart to Faika Mazur, who has did a wonderful presentation. And this is one of the best presentation I have ever seen. One of the best presentation. And both of them rock it today. And they are going to rock in the coming days also, team. Coming days, we are going to have Gauss sir. He is MBBS MS, a surgeon who has operated many people. He is going to come and talk about hypnotherapy. And Sumitra ma'am is going to literally take you people in hypnotherapy. Okay, a full day, full session she is going to take. And we are going to meet so many people, maybe even Faika also. Thank you very much, team. Thank you for joining. Thank you once again, Faika and Sumitra. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you, sir. It was very useful. Thank you, sir. It was very useful. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. You are you both ma'ams are like in a Olympic coach who is actually driving the athletics to win the race, ma'am, to come to represent India, and also you both created a historical today's presentation, really memorable and ever forgettable, madam. Thank you
so much.
And thank you for Shiva sir also for arranging
If you come on the video until it will be much, because Faika will not forget you.
Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
You come on the video and tell the same.
Yeah, sir. So actually, I'm really commendable for both ma'ams. Wonderful, presentation. They are like an Olympic coach, like they lead us to win the medal in countries, to prosper the candidates. So like that, I also, my gratitude, Shiva sir, for bringing such a wonderful trainers, like they are expert in their field, sir. Thank you, sir. In a short.
Birds of the same feather flock together. Shivkumar sir, actually the people who are all giving their feedback, they are all very great dignitaries. Like our Uni Krishnan sir and other and Shivkumar sir and all, they are all very great dignitaries. And to get their blessings, really we should be honored. And we are honored, sir. Thank you very much.